right, welcome back to Slip Joint Display. Today we're looking at a Great Eastern Cutlery 35 in distressed whiskey barrel oak. This is knife number 352325. Let's get into the model. So Great Eastern Cutlery has re-released the 35s, and I picked up several in whiskey barrel oak. This is a distressed whiskey barrel oak model, right? So what you're talking about is they use the wood from whiskey barrel to make the covers of the knives. So on the inside of the whiskey barrel, you've got your interior charred surface wood. From the middle of the barrel, you've got saw cut or smooth, and on the outside, distressed, exterior or distressed. So this is an example of the distressed wood. I picked this up from Boss Steel Blades. I got another whiskey that I also picked up from Boss Steel Blades. I'm doing a review on his channel for that. But I wanted to get this one on the channel. I want to talk about it a little bit. So, you know, when I saw these coming out, I saw that they were whiskeys. What I refer to as whiskeys, just meaning the knives made with the oak from the whiskey barrels, and I was immediately interested. I really missed out on all the whiskey models from the 78 run that came out in 24, and that was the first time the Great Eastern Cutlery, at least to my knowledge, used whiskey barrel oak for the covers for knives. I really wanted to get at least a whiskey from that 24 run of 78s, and I completely missed out on the whole thing. So when I saw this coming, I was really all over it, and I really wanted to get in on this. This being distressed, I kind of feel like, you know, looking at, you got smooth, charred, and distressed, and I haven't seen any saw cut in this run. I mean, that's the other thing listed here, but I feel like the distressed has the most character, and so I was really excited about this knife. This thing is brand new. I haven't even taken the oil off the blade. Let me do that just so that as I'm moving around with this. I think this wood has a lot of character to it, and I can really dig it. There's a lot going on there. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. So here's your tube. So this is a beer and sausage knife. So included with it is a fork and a comb. Titty Cutlery, beer and sausage. And here is your pin. So beer and sausage bar tool knife. Same picture that you see here as far as the beer and the sausages and all that. So I can dig that. And with these knives, you also get this right up. So they were gifted a whiskey barrel from a notable southern distillery that was used for the production of this run of 35 beer and sausage and 35 Fairway and Clubhouse. So the Fairway and Clubhouse is the other knife in this run. It's I guess a golf knife, right? But this is a 35 beer and sausage. So what you are talking about is a spear point blade, long pull, cut swedge, polished bolsters, fluted, B&S on the blade, and yeah. So the other tools that come with this is your fork with a bottle opener on it, and your comb. So BRR tool is what's stamped on there. Beard refuse removal. I think the idea of this, as far as the beer and sausage knife is concerned, is if you're going to go eat sausage, drink beers with your buddies, you've got a fork on there, a bottle opener, and the comb to remove food that would be stuck in your beard. I can dig this. I think it's fine, although this one did come with some problems. When this first showed up, I thought that the knife just needed to be flushed, and I went ahead and started flushing it with nano oil. And that's because the action on this blade is terrible. It's horrible. So I flushed it quite a bit, and it wasn't making a difference. And I was kind of, you know, playing with the knife and just kind of taking stuff out. And I had the knife fully opened, and from this position, I tried closing the blade. And that's what I ran into. And I said, wait, hold on a minute. That was way too good of a closing. So what's going on here? So I closed just the fork. Good closing. So then I closed the comb. And that's what I ran into. And I realized that it doesn't really fit with the comb in there. The whole thing is getting hung up on itself. Consequently, the comb is very hard to open when you close the blade on it. And if you open up just the comb on this one and then close it, it doesn't go down the same amount. It's unfortunate that this one is not right. The other beer and sausage whiskey that I got is fine. So it's just this one. It's not, I wouldn't say it's something that's subject to the whole run, but it is unfortunate. Aside from that, the blade is done well. Everything is fitted really well. The original beer and sausage knife, the Great Eastern Cutlery put out, I believe came out in 2020. It's an interesting model that turns a lot of people off. I mean, a lot of people don't want the comb in there at all. They think that the whole thing is kind of gimmicky and it's not what they have in mind. It is kind of a specialized knife. I mean, it reminds me of a case hobo knife. And, you know, a case hobo knife is like blade, fork, spoon, sometimes other tools on there. And the case hobo knives are, you know, they date back to like the late 1920s to like the early 1940s, like the Depression era, where you had guys that had a real value for having a knife with a bunch of different tools on it. These are guys that would travel the country looking for work or for work, and having a pocket knife that had a blade, a fork, and a spoon on it, you know, like I said, that had a lot of value for them given the way that they were living. This, I don't believe, was that. I don't think that, you know, I've heard people say this is Great Eastern Cutlery's version of a hobo knife, and I don't think that that's the case. Given what I've heard from watching some of my fellow knife reviewers do reviews on the beard and sausage, I think that this was one that came about a little bit more organically and just looking at different tools they could put on, and I think maybe in the end did the whole beer and sausage thing. But I don't think they sat down and they said, hey, let's make our version of a case hobo knife. From what I've heard, that's not the way that it went down. But I can see where that comes from. I can see where that connection is made. It's good action on the fork. Good bottle opener. Yeah, it's interesting. And the fork is where your number is. So 352325 carbon. I wonder what that fork's going to look like if people are really using it to eat sausage. I heard that the comb is spring steel, so that's interesting. I don't know that it'll patina. I don't, you know, Because it depends on what kind of spring steel you're talking about as to how much carbon is in it. But the blade and the fork are carbon, so you'll get patina there. I like the 35 as a pattern. This isn't the first 35 that I've had. I had a Churchill that I wasn't very fond of. I bought it back in the day on release and just didn't love it and just beat on it, just used it as a beater, and then ended up trading it. And the guy was very excited to make the trade, and I traded for something pretty heavy, so I was cool with it. He was cool with it. But I like the 35 with a spear point blade more. I think that it's more fitting for the knife. At least more so than the clip point that was on the Churchill. So I dig this model. I do wish that the action on this was better. I mean, it's not like I can oil this thing and make that go away. So that's unfortunate. I kind of already have a solution in mind, which is, why I haven't sharpened this knife yet. We'll see what comes of that. I'll update you guys as it goes. But I do dig the distressed whiskey on this, the whiskey barrel. Let's have a closer look at that. It really looks like a different finish between the this piece here and then where they cut it down, doesn't it? I'm not sure what that is. Let's look real quick just to go over this. So 2.5 inch cutting, maybe 2 3/4 total blade length, and a little over 3.5 total handle. A little less than 1/2 inch thickness. With everything going on in there. These are on, let's see if I can do this. Yeah. The spring for the cone barely even moves, but you can see the other springs there sticking out. So you're talking about three different springs that you're dealing with here. So a spring for each tool. I heard something about the comb having a rounded tang, or rounded at the half stop, which you can kind of feel that. I mean, it definitely falls into half, and then it's kind of, let's see if we can see it. I don't think on camera we're going to be able to pick anything up. Yeah, maybe around a tang. I don't know. But I did hear somebody say something about that. Half stops on the fork and cam tang on the main blade. So it's interesting if you're definitely talking about 2 different tangs. If you're talking about 3 in the same knife, that's interesting execution of the knife right there. Transitions feel good. Dig the fluted bolsters. I was going to say I'm not seeing any gaps, but there you go. A little something in there. A little bit. Nothing major. And as per usual, nothing you can see from the outside. Don't put a flashlight on your knives, guys. It's not fair. Let me do it. Anyway, so equal end cigar on this pattern. Interesting stuff. I like it. I think they did a good job. just the way everything sits together, and the shield with whiskey barrel oak on it. I think the whole thing looks really good. I really dig the 35 with a spear point blade on it. What do you guys think? Did you pick up one of these 35s from this run, or did you not? Did you stay away from it? The first ones to come out, I know there was a blue micarta. I know there was a green jig bone with the fairway knife, with the clip point blade. What are your thoughts on it? Did you want a whiskey? Did you miss one? Did you pick one up? Are you hunting one now? Get down in the comments, let us know, and I'll see you guys on the next video.